Blanket. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to San Diego's beautiful Snapdragon Stadium, where we're getting ready for the Dunlop Motorcycle Tires track walk at round 3 of the Monster Energy AMA Supercross. So here we are today. As you guys have tuned in the past, all of our viewers might remember that the theme this year is team managers who used to race. I hope I don't run out of them. But as we walk down, you might recognize Larry Brooks. Larry, welcome, and thank you for being my co-host today.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, so here we are on the start, Snapdragon Stadium. The one thing, right off the bat, we look down at the ground with a little bit of weather forecast, possibility of rain. They're keeping it a little drier, but man, oh man, does this dirt look familiar to you?
This looks just like old Carlsbad Raceway. It's hard packed, and I'm a little bit scared if we have any water that falls out of the sky, we're gonna really struggle on the course.
Yeah, one thing this is absolutely, last year for some of those of you into the track walk, this dirt, they had to haul out because they had monster trucks the week before at Snapdragon, and the dirt got so contaminated, they hauled it out, replaced it, and where they got that dirt was from Oceanside. So Oceanside is just maybe less than 10 miles away from Carlsbad. So I called this the Carlsbad of the South, and it's looking like it right now. So coming down this starting line right here in this first straightaway, long center dissecting the middle of the stadium here, and again we look at another right-hand corner.
Yeah, right-hand corners are kind of strange for the first corner. I mean, everyone has their right foot down trying to make the corner, and the brake pedal is on the right side. So I don't know. I'm hoping that it doesn't bunch up and the riders can get through it clean, but a right-hand corner is a little dangerous sometimes, but We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, and this one is very, very flat, as you can see. So, boy, it's going to favor, it's important to get a good start here and favor that. So you working for the Suzuki team, your top rider, Ken Roczen, and Larry, I say this, I've been friends with you since the 1980s when you were on 80s for Team Honda, and then as you turned professional later on in the middle of the 80s there. But where you shine as a team manager, in my opinion. If I were riding as a rider, I would love you to be my team manager because you're kind of silent, but you never leave any stone unturned. You seem to look at everything. And last week, even in San Francisco, I saw you physically working on Ken Roczen's motorcycle. So what, think about that. Okay, just team, for people who don't know, Larry was team manager for for Jeremy McGrath. Yep. Also, you worked with James Stewart.
Correct.
Chad Reed.
Correct. Ken
Roczen.
Yep.
I mean, is there anybody, think
Grant
about
Langston, Mike Alessi. There was a slew of them. I mean, I've been doing it for a while, and I just kind of found a niche, something I was good at, enjoyed, and I don't feel like I've ever worked a day in my life just because I come to the races and get to work around motorcycles, and I just have a blast doing it.
Yeah, and so much knowledge, honestly. I mean, you really are, and you're somebody that studies the game, studies Supercross. So coming out of this turn, it's nice having a guy like Ken Roczen who's a good starter, but talking about right-hand corner, pretty flat, but right into a section right here that the riders were not able to ride during the press day when we saw them. They really just had them riding a couple of little sections here. So what do you think you're going to do? Step up onto this, and you can see right here into the face of that and maybe pop that and clear the one behind it, or do you think they'll try to get all the way up on top?
I would think they're either going to get on top of it and step off, or they could try to step all the way over and get to the backside, then they could triple over the big one. You always want to jump small to big, and keep your jumping a little bit lower, but you gotta do the track the way that it's best, and it seems like they would get over that, but I mean, we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it. You got to almost see the guys ride this thing. And we talk about, here with all the different obstacles, you can turn this way and see what we're talking about here in the back. We used to just call it kind of an onto a tabletop. Right. Now they kind of count each little ridge as a jump. So they'd probably call this a quad if they were landing on the downside. Yeah. But realistically, coming out of that first corner, you'd have to go wide to get it. Yeah. But I think up on top here, clear this, and then as you said right here, let's go down here and check this out. If you are able to clear this right here, then you've got small to large to small. So as you were saying, taking off on the small, jumping over, completely clearing the tall and large. So you got like 3-5-3 or 4-5-3-4 here. And so you want to clear this tall one. You might be able to take off from that and clear this right here.
Yep.
And then you are at that point though, you're back into the large, tall one, and you're going into a 180 bull corner where the Falcon tire is 180 corner.
Yep.
So again,
it's going to be really what the rhythm will let you do. And like you said, I mean, I don't know if you want to open yourself up and be vulnerable in that first corner by going outside. That could be a little dangerous. So it's going to be whatever the battle is. And if you have a little gap on the riders ahead of you, you might be able to take an outside line, but the majority of the time you want to hug it tight and play it safe.
Yep, you want to play a little defensive in that corner for certain. Don't want to get anybody inside of you there. So coming out of this corner again, here able with the camera, you can really see the difference between, we're talking small, big, small. This one is dramatically different. This is about a 3. That's a solid 5, maybe 6.
Sure. Yep.
And so very, very tall. Jump in the middle, and most riders probably do not want to. I mean, you really want to either downside or even try to get a triple out of the corner. The 450 guys
between 3 and 4 is pretty tight, so I'm not really sure how they're going to get this, but they could definitely get 3 out of that corner.
Yep,
and carry a lot of speed into the
and
whoops.
If they do downside the tall, you hit this small one right here, and they're no problem going to clear coming into the whoops.
Right. And you would carry all that speed into the whoops, which that's pretty much the goal.
And having worked with somebody, as you had to marvel sometimes, I used to look back and see Jeremy McGrath in the whoops, and he was the first guy I really ever saw do what we're talking about here. So if you landed here and you landed down, compress the suspension, as the bike is naturally coming back up, that's exactly what you want. You've got a small little starter whoop, and then you've got 9 whoops in here. So everything about landing on that backside kind of adds up to a good whoop run.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, if you compress the suspension and let it rebound back up and it carries you into the whoops, you're already on top of the whoops.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is keep your speed up. And you're not going to gain speed through the whoops, so you've got to bring as much speed into them as you can.
Yep, absolutely do. Important part, especially at this track, you know, some of the riders talking to them at press day, I heard the word, it's pretty basic. I heard the word basic about 5 different times. Simple. I honestly, Eli Tomac was riding, and he didn't even ride the final session. I think they only let him ride half of it. I think he goes, I've already seen enough of it. No point in it. So this track at this point, they haven't overly complicated it in case it does rain, which is not a bad thing.
Smart.
It's very smart. And the track Dirtworks guys, they've done this so many times. They know, watching the weather, like all the teams are, and they want to make sure that they can always add difficulty to the track.
Correct.
They can complicate it a little bit more with a change of a jump.
Yep.
They can add water, but you can't take it away once you've got it in.
Correct.
Very hard. So interesting thing right here. Do you see how this corner comes in and it kind of elevates and it's a little higher? It's got a little rise in the middle, and then it actually comes down. But that's an interesting little berm here. It's not high on the outside at all. Yeah,
it's almost like a slice in here that raised up a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, it's gonna definitely load the bike when you come out of the whoops and start into that berm. And then you have 2 jumps here, but a third of a tabletop. That'd be pretty big to get up there.
Yep, well, be careful sliding down here. Last week I wore these same shoes right here in San Francisco. Boy, I got a ton of comments about them.
I can't believe you made it out of there with them that clean.
I washed them. These are not tennis shoes. These are actually urban riding shoes. These are actually made by a motorcycle boot company. So, I washed them, I cleaned them, but they're this California Adobe is sticking to the bottom of these. So throwback race, 50 years of Supercross, 1994. Started the official AMA Supercross, and I'm really emphasizing AMA Supercross because we all know that one of our own San Diego beloved riders, Marty Tripes, won the first Super Bowl of motocross in '72.
Right.
But that was not part of the AMA series. So, although it was absolutely an important win in our sport, again, he won again in '73. It wasn't part of the official Supercross championship. So because of that, you have to have a starting place. It's just like the Super Bowl era of football.
Right.
You know, they didn't start that till the AFL and the NFC and the AFC started playing each other, but that wasn't until the mid-'60s. So want to verify that, or just to clarify that.
Little history.
But yeah, a little history there. But we started racing here in San Diego at Supercross in 1980. Mike Bell, my teammate at Yamaha, was the winner.
Yep.
That was my first year of full Supercross, and then came back in 81 and 2. Got fortunate enough to win those two in my hometown, which was cool. And then the following year, we had a little turmoil between the AMA and the sanctioning body and the promoters group. Then we had a little, some situation there to where the San Diego Supercross in the following year, in 1983, was not an AMA Supercross.
Right.
And one of our San Diego's beloved, Ron Lachine, won that race, and unfortunately he wasn't credited with an official AMA Supercross. But,
which should have been.
You know, it's kind of should have been, but right now that's introducing me into the old school throwback race that they made San Diego the key race of the series for throwback. And it just seems so appropriate because all the history here, and you talk about the sport of motocross with Edison Dye importing Husqvarna motorcycles in the 60s, and he was a local San Diego, lived right up the street in a town called La Mesa. Torsten Hallman brought his clothing distributorship and started it right here in town. So San Diego's got a really deep history in the sport.
Right.
And it's just so cool to have Marty Smith, Marty Tripes, the whole Cajon Zone group that came out of a win in there. And we're going to try to figure out if we're going to get up this thing or we're going to slide it around. We might go around.
We might want to go around, yeah.
They just watered this for a few minutes ago. And we don't need to go face plant there. We'll come up the side here. So we've all slid around the racetrack too many times in our days to want to slide down the face of a triple jump. So pretty much stock triple jumps, got the leader lights right here. Kiddingly around, I saw a very funny meme about Ken Roczen leading the race. One of the most technologically advanced things on his motorcycle was leader lights. I had to laugh about that, trust me. But reality of your guys' bike, no Kickstarter. How are you making that bike that really is, how many year old is that platform?
They revamped the bike in 2019, so it's really not that old of a design. It still has a Kickstarter, so everyone focuses on that, which kind of a bummer. But our bike is good. We use a lot of parts that are standard just because they're the best. We could change anything we want, but we prefer to run the standard units.
Well, there's no question your bike is very capable of winning. Ken Roczen, a fantastic rider, of course, but you don't do that if your bike's not competitive. So coming off this standard triple, we don't need to talk a whole bunch about that. But going back into that 80s era there, you turned professional in what, 84?
84 was my first year,
And then you had a real strong run there as a factory Honda supported rider. You won at least a couple times in 85. I remember Los Angeles seemed to be your turf.
So in 84, I turned professional and then raced here on a 250, which was a little bit out of my league, but I felt
the year Ronnie, it was not an 88.
That's the year Ronnie won. So I was in, and I won the last chance. And finished 14th in the main event.
Nice.
And that was my introduction to Supercross, which was really cool. But then the next year, I raced the 125 class in Supercross, and I won. I broke my wrist at the beginning of the year, but I ended up winning 2 of the Supercross main events. And it was definitely a highlight of my career. Really fun.
And those 2 were the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, your hometown.
Correct.
And then you also won the Los Angeles Coliseum. So, I mean, that's how, for me, when I won here first time, it was like, hey, there's nothing better than winning in front of your hometown. I mean, there's people I went to high school in the stands. And
all your friends are there.
You played Little League baseball with are in the stands.
And now you're racing motorcycles, which, a lot of people come, they watch, they look up to you, and it's just really cool to be able to win in front of them.
Nice. So after come off that section there, just a 90-degree hard run in here. Watching the guys, very good passing opportunity in this Dunlop. So when you're watching on TV, you'll see the Dunlop banners. You know which corner we're in. 180. I was watching guys almost practicing doing stoppies coming in here. So lots of braking power, traction into this corner here. And then this point right here, we're heading across in front of the starting line.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really fast section of the track, which is good for racing. You know, you don't want the whole track to be super slow and rhythm. This will make for good racing for sure.
Well, yep. Hopefully, we're not getting drowned out by the equipment, but they've got to build the track and get it all ready.
They've got to
you can
work
see
too.
They're working it up here, and they got to be ready for tomorrow. So coming across here, a little bit of an angle.
Yeah.
And this is a really aggressive wall jump. This thing is flat.
This is kind of an awkward corner because you're coming in so tight that you would want to go outside and jump over that, but I think the main line's going to be turning up the inside, turning on the jump.
Yeah, it's scrubbing right here. There you go. Perfect. So, San Diego, you lived in San Diego for a while, and on top of that, there we go, good job getting up there. You married one of my neighbors. That's why always, to me, we did spend a lot of time around each other because of that. I mean, we've done houseboat trips together and all sorts of fun things in the past. So San Diego is kind of your adopted town, and we welcome you here and love to have you, as you know, try to call you our own too. So but it's just fun to see all the love all the San Diegans have for this sport. It's a crazy motorsports town, and particularly the two-wheel Supercross motocross town. So finish line jump, as you see,
pretty big face.
Yeah, good sized face. It's every time you walk them, you always wonder how they jump them so easily, but it's
right. They're big jumps.
It is easy. So up here over the finish line, and kind of an interesting angle here. It's not quite a full 180.
It's a big bowl.
Big bowl though, lots of opportunity.
You'll definitely carry a lot of speed around there.
6'4".
Yep. You're just growing by the foot.
Come into this corner right here, and this is like impact zone right here. Is it not?
Big time.
Right here, coming off of that thing, coming inside.
A lot of guys are going to be diving to the inside. You're going to be trying to carry speed around the outside to go over 3, and it's going to be crazy racing right here.
So right here, this is probably one of the questions of the race right here. Is this going to be a full triple here? That's a long ways, Larry, to come out of the corner and hit that triple. What do you think?
These bikes are so fast now that, you know, I think with the torque that the 4-stroke has, I think they will make it. You know, but if you're turning up the inside and you can block somebody out and block them from tripling, you're going to make a pass.
Yeah, so flat out across here. Whoops, I was going to say we're going to try to get across here before they fire that PTO up. Start revving the pump to get some water pressure, but coming across at an angle, we're going backwards, counter start, right back across as we cut across here. As we come to our last and final section of this track. And again, it's about, what do you think? So we're going to be the sloppiest, muddy section here.
Yep.
So coming out of this corner, they were using this part in press day, but they weren't coming at the angle we were. They were just cutting across. There were some guys tripling this, so they were coming out of the little, clearing the big, and then doing on top of that. And we might be able to. What do you think, Abel? Go this way? Okay. All right. So they were clearing the small one out there, but most of the time they really were not. So. You know, but a few riders were. When the racetrack, they're coming in with a lot more speed. I'm thinking almost.
I think it's definitely
all the
possible.
450s.
I mean, you're going to carry a lot of speed around that bowl turn. And then, you know, obviously into the face of the jump. You can even tire tap off the top of it. Eli Tomac is great at that. So we'll see how they maneuver this
and
jump.
as your old rider, James Stewart.
He was really
a good tire tapper too.
So. He was just a good motorcycle rider.
Exactly. So coming down this straightaway right here, this is our last tie into the first corner, and unlike the first corner where it was a fairly tight corner, now we're talking a U-turn.
Yeah, this is really tight here, and the ground's going to get pretty hard packed. And I don't think they're going to be getting over that tabletop anymore. I think that's going to be more difficult than I thought it was the first lap. But
exactly.
You could jump up to that first level and then step all the way over the 3-footer over there.
So very good. Well, we just got a lap done here at Snapdragon Stadium, and thank you very much for our co-host Larry Brooks of the Dunlop Motorcycle Tire Track Walk. And you know, 50th anniversary race, it couldn't be done in a better place.
But we need to hear about the hat, Broc.
Oh,
we need to hear about the old Dunlop hat.
So I found this in my attic over New Year's, and this is an original OG. I got this from the Japanese Dunlop. This is a Japanese hat, Japanese writing inside.
Yep.
It is brand new, in original condition.
Never been worn.
Never been worn since 1985, and it is
been on the shelf.
It is the real deal. Put away in a plastic
That
bag,
is
and
a
I'm running it.
collector's item.
Brought it out for San Diego because, again, the 50th anniversary.
That's awesome.
Race. So, Larry, thank you so much, and all your knowledge and expertise and all your devotion to the sport helped make the sport what it is today. No question about it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You got it, buddy. Thanks. Tune in next week. We're going to be up at Anaheim, up the road at Anaheim too, back a little closer to a hometown that you know very well too. So.
Yep.